welcome everyone to this webinar, Mindful Education, the Science of Attention in Learning Design. So let me start speaking a little bit about the science of human attention. We at Neurotech, we specialize in understanding human attention for over a decade. Our tool is a continuous performance test that is detecting attention disorders and attention difficulties for over a decade. We have done over 850,000 assessments to date in about 30 different countries around the world. This is a specialty that we have at Neurotech, but when I joined Neurotech about a year and a half ago, I was more intrigued about the potential of taking this into the education domain. Because if we look at child's personal development, whatever we do in education, we take a child from A to B, the same can be done for many of the skills and the characteristics of attention that are building his character and are building his learning style. Attention is essential to learning, but I would argue that, like the weather, many are speaking about that, not necessarily everyone understands how it's working. This is my son about 20 years ago, when we were living in the Netherlands, and he went to American school over there. And one of the teachers complained that he's not paying attention. And, you know, we were sitting in front of the teacher, and she said, "Your child is not learning. He's not paying enough attention. He doesn't look at me when I explain. He doesn't take any notes. He doesn't even have a notebook." So my son looked at her and understood what to do. Immediately after that, when we came to the next meeting, she said, now he's perfect. Why? Because every 5 minutes or so, he would now make eye contact with the teacher. He was writing a lot of notes in a notebook that had nothing to do with the lesson that he was participating at. But for the teacher, everything was okay. Now she saw all the things that she understood means that he is learning. Now, I must say that as a parent, I also fell into this trap, because when he was learning computer science at university, he used to learn with music. And I would say, how can you learn with it? Shut the music and concentrate and learn better. But he's one of those guys that music is the thing that makes him learn and not the other way around. The diversity in attention is so big. So one of the challenges we had at Neurotech is that when we were doing all those assessments, we were measured by our ability to go to the target, to look at the child and understand if this child has attention disorder or attention difficulties with very high accuracy of over 90%. We didn't care about all the rest. So we were only focused on the, let's say, weaknesses, or maybe the disorder, or maybe the problems of the learner that are related to attention. When we need to go into the education domain, we cannot limit ourselves just to look at this one specific case out of so many cases around them. So we need to look at the entire spectrum. We need to look at those that are having strengths and weaknesses, and there are so many different parameters that build the human attention that maybe you can excel on one of them and you do not excel on the others. One of the main challenges when we had to adopt to this school of thinking was that there was no frame of reference. So the first thing that we had to do at Neurotech was to create a baseline. What does it mean, a baseline? Think about it. Everyone today is talking about AI. Forget AI. This is pure HI, human intelligence. This is science and statistics and the intelligence of people that went through a lot of scrutiny and trial and error in order to build a database that is made of more than 60,000 assessments from our database. And based on that, we created a baseline for general population based on age and gender, meaning that for each child that we meet and we assess, we can place this child on a scale that is of other kids in his gender and his age. And based on that, we can look at his percentile. The percentile is also something which is very key to the way that we measure today attention. Because now that we have more than about 14 different parameters, we would like to place the child or the learner on how he compares to his a reference group in all those parameters, and based on that, build his profile. So when we are now providing these measurements to the school, to the teacher, to the educators, to the school counselors, etc., we are providing scientifically based data that is numerical, data that does not exist elsewhere. This is about 14 different parameters of the child's attention. One example is, let's say, self-regulation. You know, this thing, self-regulation, is this elusive thing that actually makes personal learning happen. Because kids that have very low self-regulation cannot learn by themselves and need guidance, while learners that have very high self-regulation can excel in self-learning and self-guided learning. We created a very simple facilitation procedure for that, and we have an API. And our slogan is 15-minute scientific peek into the brain. We are providing the data, and we give the educators, the social workers, the school counselors, and all the others to do their magic based on this data. And this is our contribution to this science of learning. With having this in mind, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Sam Goldstein. He's the chairman of our advisory board for years.
Well, so, we have a large clinic, and every child takes the test because it measures 4 critical abilities, as you point out, that are necessary not just for acquiring knowledge, but for managing that knowledge and solving problems in everyday life.